So I've got my setup here, I've got my Revox B77 tape machine running into the Soundcraft mixer. I appreciate a lot of people won't have one of these, but you are seeing them crop up in more and more bedroom studios now, project studios. They're quite affordable on the second-hand market. I got mine for under £300. I had to spend a bit more on servicing it and getting new heads put on there, but they are quite accessible, and there's a lot of tape sims out there these days, but this unit in particular, when I run a mix onto this, I don't think any of those tape sims like the Slate Digital sounds quite like this. It does kind of, it takes away a lot of the top end, it adds a lot of warmth in the lows, it's really nice, and I just thought it's quite an integral part of my workflow now, so I thought I'd demonstrate how I'm using it. So I've got my test oscillator in Logic, and I've taken the output of the sound card, Apogee Duo, and it's running into the auxiliary ins in the back of the tape. And I've got the tape switch to monitor to input. My headphones plugged into the tape. I can hear that test oscillator coming in. And the reason I do this is because there's no stereo information on that test oscillator, and I can match the input levels on the right and the left channel here on the tape machine. If I hit record and switch now the monitor to tape, and just make sure that the right and left channels are the same, because sometimes you have to tweak these a little bit. It's hotter on the left one or the right one, so I want to make sure that they're pretty much exactly the same using that test oscillator where there's no stereo information, and then I'm ready to run my mix in here. So we can just keep recording, mute that test oscillator in Logic, play back our track, get a nice level in. So that's all right. So I'm going to run two mixes onto this tape machine. I'm going to run one like that at a nice healthy level, and I'm going to do another one where I drive it a little bit, and then we can have a listen to the different results and record it back into Logic. So, okay, so what I've done here is, I'll just name these regions. I set up a new audio track. I input monitoring, record enabled it, and then just recorded the output from the tape machine for like 15 minutes, and then chopped and edited these two regions. So we've got the first, this one here, this is tape one. This is the first tape mix that we did at quite a nice healthy level, and then tape two, this is the one that I kind of drove it into the red a little bit, so it distorted it a little bit. So let's have a listen back. This is the original mix, so before we went onto the tape. This is the first tape cut. And this is the one that was driven. So I'll include the audio, all three mixes for you in the course content, so you can have a good listen through. And let's have a listen later on in the track where everything kicks in. So this is the original mix. The first tape mix. And this is the hot mix where I kind of drove the input. And if you've noticed, what I've done on this mixer here to make sure they're all peaking at the same level, so we can really monitor what's happened to the audio, I've had to tweak the level so they're all peaking at about -6. And when I listened back, I thought the original mix sounds nice, but there's that harsh top end that when you play one of these other tape mixes back, you really notice the difference. Switch over in a sec. Tape. So it's brighter, it's taken away, so what the tape has done is taken away some of that top end, I think, and it's added a lot of warmth. It's really warmed up that low end added a lot of kind of weight. It softened the transients, and I do think that kind of frequency about sort of 4K, the Tape Machine tends to just knock that out really nicely. And I actually, out of the two mixes, I prefer this one that's been kind of quite driven. So I'm going to use this for the final master, and in the next video we'll look at doing some quick mastering on this mix. Alright, cheers.